Hi guys, welcome back to another amazing video. Today we're going to be exploring the lines that serve the pits in the west of Manchester. So these were the main lines that had several pit lines crissing and crossing here, there and everywhere. These pits were vital as they fed the hungry industrial revolution that was going on in the centre of Manchester itself. So this is going to be a nice circular explore where we're travelling from Worsley all the way to Wigan. So we start at Worsley, we'll travel to Tyldesley, then we'll travel across to Wigan, then we'll travel down to explore Bickershaw, which was one of the last pits to close, before then travelling up to Leigh, before finally returning back to Tyldesley. Right, come on guys, let's check it out. We're here at Worsley railway station. Yes, this is on the Bolton to Patricof line, but this is an important point to start from because this is where now we're going to be going back in the Bolton direction and taking the spur off at Row Green to go all the way to Wigan. Now this is a very important industrial line because this was built specifically for the collieries of Manchester. So as we go along, I'll point out where each of the collieries are. We're going on a lovely circular section, meeting Bickershaw, seeing the old flashes, everything else. So this is going to be a very, very entertaining trip. So as you can see, there's plenty of people out today. But this is the site of the old railway station. It's still got the old platforms in place. We did visit this in 2018 and it's just as prim and proper as it was then. So certainly well maintained, as you can see, also well used. So you've got the old sidings, cobbles, everything else is still here. Right, let's go and find this Row Green junction. So we're nearly there now. I'm sure you can see those bridges ahead. Got some nice oldie world stuff here. But yes, at them bridges we're veering off to the left. The left will then take us to the Row Green, which will then take us onto the Wigan line. Right, first clue of the day. Looks like we've got a nice semaphore here, leading onto the junction. We're not even started yet. Wow, bring it on. There we go, a nice bridge, well maintained by the council, as is the roadway. What we've just walked at the moment is pretty straight, just really a feeder for the main industry to come. Yeah, that's how I remember them. Cracking little bridge, look at that. Well, we've come to the end of the first country walk. As you can see, nice and green, that's looking back. We're now coming to a guided bus lane, and where you're looking, where it terminates now, is the site of our first station, Ellenbrook. So here we are at Ellenbrook station. This wasn't the original location of the station, in fact it was a lot higher. This location here was actually at the level where there used to be a colliery. It used to be called Mosley Common Colliery. And if you look at the end of the platform here, there used to be a line that went straight across. In fact, it went straight across and went back on itself and joined this line a bit further down at Ellenbrook Junction. Next station up. Not railway station though. Right, let's keep going. And here's one of our guided buses doing what they do best, guiding themselves along. I'm sure plenty of you guys are reminiscing about when the steam engines used to do that run. Station number 3. So just looking back on that last station, notice here how it's going up pretty steep gradient. I don't think that was our original track, you know. Just moving to the side here, notice how this is nice and straight. I wouldn't be surprised if this was our route and it went underneath the road ahead, but they've obviously elevated it for the convenience of the locals. I expect that's the original railway track. So just on the side of the bus lane here, this was the location of Tyldesley, new gasworks, which had some railway sidings going into it. Yeah, so like I say, this is the site of the gasworks. You can see the oldie worldy bricksy kind of thing that leads into here. Let's go and check it out and see if we can find any railway clues. Yeah, so this is the site of where the gasworks were, as you can see with the old school fencing. And this is a site, they had a few sidings here. Whether they were just holding sidings or they worked the gasworks, I don't know. But there's no rail there at all, it's just all foliage. Yep, so looking back at the guided thing, still going up to Tyldesley. So this was the route of a mineral line. It came from the colliery and it went underneath our railway line to serve several collieries on this side. So just beyond those trees was the site of Yew Tree Colliery, Shackley Colliery and Cleworth Hall Colliery, all of which were served by the railways. Yeah, so I wandered onto that colliery line just to see if I could find any clues of where the tunnel went under. But look at the chaos. I can't even move an inch left or right. So it looks like that's a no-no, guys. I'm not sure whether this is a garret. Oh, it's a black 5. I'm sure you're going to make a beeline to me anyway. Alright. Look at that nice view there. That's where our line goes. Plenty of bumps. I expect it was pretty busy during railway days. Right, so here we have the location of Tyldesley's goods shed. And just beyond that, where that car park is Tyldesley's railway station. Welcome to Tyldesley. So here we have the goods station that used to be. And where you can see the car park over there is where the railway station used to be. Bargum. Now this is the location of the station, but over on this side here there was also the collieries, which I'll explain later because we are going to do a loop and we're going to come back this way. But there was all collieries on this side. It was absolutely covered in industry. So like I say, this is where the station was. You can see yourself by the space of it. There's plenty of room for the locomotives, railway waiting rooms, blah blah blah. Like I said, where them buses are terminating at the moment, that was the goods shed. Notice how this bus thing is veering off to the left, but we're going to be veering off to the right. Wow, finally find the curve, yeah? So that's where we were. Come along here, like you say, you go the other route if you're going to Leigh. This is the route we're taking to Wigan. See the pathway? That is a perfect curve for it. Let's go to Wigan, guys. Wow, look at this. Real railway walking again. Right, let's keep going, guys. This is looking good. Let's see what clues we can find. As you can see, the route is well marked out, but what I am surprised at, I've not found one rogue sleeper yet. I wouldn't be surprised if this line was at least 4 wide. It's pretty wide where the actual bed was, well, the flat bit anyway. You can see we're crossing a river now. You can see in the brickwork where the bridge was. Also gives you an idea on how wide it was, and that does look like it could have had 4 tracks on it, you know. Let's keep going. Now I've noticed here there's a lot of railway foliage on the floor, you know, like old stones that have been smashed up. You can see all the moss that's gathering on them. And this is a bit wider than the usual track. So I'm wondering whether these are like the holding sidings, because the colliery line will be coming up very shortly. As you can see, looking back, this has been a very pleasant walk. Fortunately no railway clues, but it's been nice and clear. Now if I move over to the side here, this is a junction that goes off to 2 collieries. This goes to Chanters Colliery and Atherton Colliery. Like I say, it was a mineral line that joined up with our main line, which is going to take us now to Howe Bridge. As you notice with the line here, it's become pretty close to each other. 2 tracks at the most. Straight after that colliery, that's when we lost all the action. So this looks like just a straight connection that's going to take me to Howe Bridge, coming up shortly. Oh dear, so there's my footpath following the railway. It looks a bit moist. Looks like we'll have to go slight detour. I can see it dry a bit ahead. Let's see if I can join it there. Well, this is the approach up to Howe Bridge, and as you can see, Mother Nature 1, railways 0. Wow, and here we are. This is the site of Howe Bridge Station. Annihilated by nature. Now I did notice there was some pipes letting gases out, so I wonder if this was the valley and the How Bridge structure was down inside it, because there is absolutely nothing to be seen here. It's certainly been obliterated from history. So like I say, that's where How Bridge station was. I'm just turning round. You can see there the different colours. That gives you an indication of where the railway bridge was. And does that mean it was higher? So have they flattened this ground? And that's why I can't find any traces of the railway. I know it's this old school building here, and behind it where them cars are is where it led to the station that's behind it. So I wonder if this is like anything to do with the railways of old. And it's pretty old school, you know, like housing. So I've just climbed up the bank from that other side of the road, and you can see how high it is compared to where that station complex was. So I expect there's been a lot of excavation. So that's why How Bridge has been obliterated. Notice here we've got a split. So the one on the left is the route we're taking to Wigan. The one on the right, it was a spur that joined on with a line that went from Kenyon Junction all the way up to Bolton Moor Street. We will not be travelling that line, we'll be crossing over it. So we're coming to the point now where we passed that line I just mentioned earlier. Can you see down below there's a road with cars travelling up and down it? That was the actual track bed. They've made it into a dual carriageway. We originally went over it. Fortunately the bridge is out, so it looks like we're going down and up. So like I said, this was the old Kenyon Junction to Bolton Moor Street line. No more railways. So that's looking back at How Bridge and all the complex. We just missed out on a curve which isn't traceable, I'm afraid, but that was the West Junction curve that again went onto that line, which is now a dual carriageway. But this short track, widthwise, now becomes a bit wider on this side because it's accommodating a colliery. A colliery called Blackcroft Collieries on the left hand side. Let's see what traces can be found on that. Right, this is where we're splitting. So that's the colliery line there on the left. This is the main line on the right. Let's keep making our way to Wigan. As you can see, we've gone back down to a thin track again. That colliery line is spanning off over in that direction. Let's keep going. Right, we're about half a mile short of Hindley Green at the moment, but this was a crossover point for another mineral line that served the collieries. In that direction it went to Springfield and looped back to that last one we mentioned, was it Blackcroft? And it originally came through our line here, up that pathway there. So this is where we're going. We should be at Hindley Green pretty soon. So there's a spur here on the right that went to Swan Lane Colliery and Brookside Colliery. We're very close to Hindley Green Station. Let's check it out. Right guys, we've finally reached Hindley Green. Now these do look like the slabs that are used on the platform edge. We notice there's also some a bit further up. Now I'm a little confused because I'd normally say yes, that is the case. But there's a bit of a riverbed at the side here. And have you noticed this very, very straight bank? Was that the original platform edge? And the stones have been removed for decorative purposes. So is this where the river is? Well, you know, the pond is. Is that the location of the actual railway track? I just removed some of the moss, and I do suspect that this was the original track. I don't know whether the other thing's been put up there for decorative purposes. I really do suspect this goes all the way along. No sign of any platforms on the other side, not visible anyway. I haven't got my wellies, so there's no chance of me wading through that. But yes, here's the site of Hindley Green. And as you can see, the back wall, the old railway wall, is still there. The station wall. So I suspect that was the wall. They had a platform on that side. This is where the track was, and this edge here, which is still going along, look at it, is where the platforms were. Now, as we look a bit deeper, you can see yourselves the notorious white bricks, which is definitely signs of the station. At last, nice station ticked off. So as we go on, that is where the bridge would be. But you notice on the side here, we've got a bit of a slope, which is the entrance from the main road to the station. See the slopes also in the walls at the side? That does make sense. Remember, the station is there. And here we are on the other side, making our way to Bickershaw and Wigan. And looking back, that was a lovely walk. Nice and straight. Unfortunately, it's not the case for here. It looks like we're on riverbed instead of railway bed. Right, so it looks like we're slightly going high, but we're still on track. I suspect that water's trapped, you know, because it's been going on for quite a while now, and it doesn't seem to be ending. Luckily, we've got this pathway up at the top. Right, as you can see in the distance here, we've still got that flooding in the background. So the line goes behind all these trees. Can you see this bit of a cutting here? This was a mineral line that served another colliery at Worsley. Well, the route is getting shallower, but it still looks a bit swampy down there. I think we'll stick with this top path for now. Right, that's looking back on ourselves. We're back on the track bed. As you can see, it's a lot drier now. And a little bit further up here, we should be finding the junction ready for Bickershaw. Or, if you want to go straight ahead, we'll end up at Wigan Springs branch. Bring it on. Wonder if these drains are finally doing what they're meant to do. Keeping out that bloody water. Nothing like a bit of a challenge on the old trip, eh? Oh my God, this has been rough. Be prepared if you're going to do this, guys. Here you go, a few bits and bobs. Looks like our railway's been blocked. That's most probably why all this moisture's been hanging around. Let's see what's over the other side. As you can see, there's another mineral line going over the top of us. This served Hindley Green collieries. It also had a connection to Grange collieries, which then joined on with a Great Central line. So very busy. Not a lot to see, I know. But this is just clogged with these dead trees falling here, there and everywhere and destroying every ounce of access. So that is where we've just walked from, and it was hell. This is where we're walking through, and it's hell. But can you also notice it's getting wider on this side? This is the start of the spur that will take you down to Bickershaw. Oh my goodness. They said this was an easy trip. And here's that junction as it expands. As you can see, it's going ahead. It's also going around this corner. And I can see a bridge it's going to go under. Yes, that bridge. Oh my word, that was a challenge. So here it is, the line is coming round. Can you see the bridge? It's going underneath the bridge. It's going to curve round to meet another curve that's coming from the Wigan side to make a line through to Bickershaw. So there's a nice triangle in the middle of all this. So I'm filming from the top of the bridge now, looking literally towards where the points are going to meet. So the other one is far away. This ain't a small triangle, this is a massive one. In fact, if I pan round, you can see over there, that is where the main line is that's going to Wigan. See if we can trace that. Yep, I'm sure you recognise this chaos. That's the chaos we just walked to get here. That is the route that's now going to take you to Wigan. Let's follow that route. So yeah, I managed to walk along the edge of the, in the middle of the track. I had to do it in stealth mode because it was private land. So just got underneath that bridge over there. And now we're heading towards Wigan. I have noticed on the side there, I think that's our triangle, you know, the Bickershaw one, from the other side, from the Wigan side. So let's follow this up. Hopefully they should join up together and then we'll be near the final stretch to Wigan. And I was right, like you say, look on that side there, you can see there's still a bit of ballast. That was a line, the last line to close the Bickershaw one. I think that was early 90s, I remember seeing 20s up here. So this is our line now, joining with the Bickershaw spur from Wigan, remember, and we're going to Wigan. So up ahead, we'll eventually reach Springs Branch. And I was right, look at this, fresh track. This should take us all the way to Springs Branch if I'm right. Oh my goodness. Right, so just a little bit further up ahead, there's a bit of a junction, prison and stuff, so let's see what that's all about. Just a quick reminder that we are still on the railway line. Just getting a bit more adventurous now. So just behind me there was a spur that went off to the left that went underneath this bridge that we're on now. That spur went on to what we call the Great Central Line, which is the alternative route to get into Wigan. So we're going above. So let's have a look and see what it looks like underneath. Yes, wow, and as you say, you know what the railway companies are like, they don't like to pass each other, they like to go under or over. It looks like we're on real railway tracks. Looks like this track hasn't been lifted for too long, so hopefully we'll find a few more clues on this section. The last traffic to use this was the colliery, which hasn't been closed for that long, so obviously there's still a lot more ballast in situ. Whew. Well, I was considering doing the line down to Glazebrook, but look at it, it's a swamp, it's a river again. What are they doing down here? Don't they look after the railways at all? Looks like there's another spur on that side. And here's that same cutting on the other side looking towards Wigan. Just as wet, I'm afraid. And that's where the bridge has been taken out. Another bridge, as it were. So looking back at ourselves, I could see that bridge in the background. This is that bridge. It's a lot older and a lot more rustier. And it was definitely railways, you can see with the markings here. Was this another spur? Is this something going down to a colliery, for example? Don't know. Worth investigating. Yeah, nice overbridge there. Ooh. Nice wrought iron bridge here. Ooh, look at that. Using your natural resources. Excellent. How many lines have we got here? 1, 2, maybe 3 lines. It looks like it was, yeah, it is, going over the river. So this line down here served Brookside Colliery and Low Hall Colliery. In fact, the collieries were behind us. This was like a spur that fed on to feed the rest of the railway industries to make sure everybody got their supplies. As I say, it was a massive network round the Wigan area. And this is the other side. Here we have another bridge, as it were. Usual high quality standards of ironwork. Goes to nowhere, there's a factory behind it. And it's blocked off both sides. And we have another bridge. Plenty of bridges on this line. This one is used, fortunately. I don't know whether that was its original use for passengers. So we're now at the location of Platt Bridge Station. So basically I've had a look in all that foliage there. And certainly on railway track side there's not much sign of the station at all. I think it was all cleared out when they built the freight service. As you can see, it's getting slightly dense, and strangely enough we've lost all that newish ballast back down to the old stuff, and we're getting nearer to Springs Branch. I thought if anything the ballast would have been fresher at the junction, but it's the logic of BR, I suppose. Oh well, looks like there's a bridge out here. Very, 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 very close to Springs Branch now. Right, so those trees are following the line of the railway. And can you see in the distance? That is a New Look Springs branch. Right, so here we are at Springs Branch Depot. As you can see, this is where our spur joins on with the West Coast Main Line, makes its way up to Wigan. Right, so it looks like this line has had a slight reprieve. As you can see, we've got some new track down. So this is where the spur went up and joins that line where that bridge was out. But if you look on the right hand side, you can see there's a mass of land. That's where there was a spur line that went on to what we call the Tyldesley Loop Line. This was like a private network for all the mining industries who connected with each other in order to serve the Industrial Revolution. Right, let's get back to Bickershaw. Okay, we're back at the Bickershaw Junction. We're going to Bickershaw now. Hope you enjoyed your trip to Springs Branch. Right, just before we go on there, I noticed these little babies here. What is this all about? Just before the spur, we've got the straight line that goes straight on back to Manchester. Is this a buffer stop? Is this an extended track? Was this for dropping? Interesting. Nice find. Right, so like I say, where them trees are is the route to Manchester. Where this beautiful pathway is was the original railway route that went to Bickershaw, the one that shut in the 90s. As you can see, ballast heaven. Not the easiest of things to walk over, but it's life. So I'm now on the Bickershaw line. That is the line going to Manchester. This is a shot from the spur. Oh, don't look as bad for me, but I promise you that is hell to walk. And there's that other bridge, the one that came from the spur from the Manchester to Bickershaw. We were on the bridge, remember, but this is what it looks like from the other side. It curves around there, and we all meet up together a bit further down this pathway. So just to fill you guys in, although this is called the Bickershaw branch, it didn't just serve Bickershaw colliery. A bit further up, hopefully we'll see some spurs for the Victoria colliery. There was a Hindle Field colliery, the Abrams, which had two main sites, as well as Bickershaw itself. So as I say, colliery heaven. Look how wide this is. This wasn't just a spur, I think this had some holding sidings on it as well. You can see the bank there where it finishes. Same again, look how wide this is. The two spurs have now met up and we're now on our way in the Bickershaw direction. I know you're all just looking at trees here, but this is the location of Victoria Colliery and Hindley Field Colliery. And that's usually another good clue when you've had industry around, because you've also got a nice water supply that goes underneath us. And there she is, all the evidence you need. This was the entrance into Hindley Field and Victoria Colliery. This was the main feed from the railway line. Wow. What did they do? Demolished them, capped them, and just left the land to rot. If you want your clues, they're there to be found. Look at the axle on that. Nothing was going to get through there, was it? Or even get out. Wonder how much I'll get for that at WeBuyAnyCar.com. Interesting structure. What do you think? We get a footbridge. Take the workers between the two collieries. There's an interesting old tunnel made modern. For the collieries that was. As you can see, it's a nice route at the moment, but still pretty wide for plenty of wagons. Look over on this side, there's another flat area. That was where Abram Colliery was. It did have two sites. We'll go and have a look at the other one very shortly. Just before we come up to the second Abram Colliery, found all these bits and bobs. Into jigsaw puzzles, maybe these were the bod huts. The lads were chilling out, ready for the shunting duties. They're everywhere. Bit of concrete on the floor where the track went through. and more railway rubbish. Oh yeah, something definitely happened here. It's not really one of the yards, maybe it's just an approach, but hey ho. Wow, just had to crawl through these derelict vans, stay en route. It just became a big mud heap and a big scrapyard. Luckily I managed to squeeze through, but wow, I was really panicking. I thought I'd have to turn all the way back. As you can see, someone just dumped a ton of dirt in the pathway. This was meant to be a through route, so I was thought, but like you say, it was very scary there. People were giving me funny stares as well, but fortunately we're back on track. Look at that route. Whilst we're here, this was the site of Abram's number 2 pit. Well, the second of the two. There was 3 in all. There's another one apparently a bit further down, so let's keep exploring. So these were the holding sidings for Abram and also for Bickershaw. Now there is a lot, and I'm talking about a lot, of bricks and stuff being dumped here. So I expect these may have been shunter huts kind of thing, but they're strewn here, there and everywhere. I know it might look like the same old shop, but this is the middle of the sidings now. This is the site where Abram's final colliery was, just over the way there. At this point we've also been met up by the Great Central Railway, who've spurred off from the Abram branch line, the main one that went to Wigan. So this was controlled by LNWR and GCR. So a bit further down here we've got the big baby, which is the Bickershaw site. So let's keep exploring. Right, so that's where we've just been. We get rid of Great Central now. See where that burnt out car is on the hill? That is now start of a spur which will take it round to join the Great Central line. We're continuing on up here where again we'll meet Bickershaw Colliery, as well as hopefully find some of the modern sidings. Well, them sidings were a bit of a disappointment. It looks like every sleep has been removed. There was no real formations or nothing track left in situ. So yes, it's a dead squid, I'm afraid. So this was the site of Plank Lane Station. You wouldn't have really thought so, look at it. Whether it was an early station that then got replaced, I don't know. There are a few signs of bricks around. Can you see the moss? They're all hiding bricks. But other than that, it seems too shallow to be a station, but this is where it's supposed to be. That's where we've just been in that jungle. It went across here and made itself way to Pennington. Right. Can you see that new estate over the background? That was the site of Bickershaw Colliery. So as I say, this is very challenging at the moment. Oh my goodness. I just managed to jump a canal because there wasn't any bridge there. I've just got to go through all this funny balsam stuff. Apparently there's some kind of a Pennington flash or something like that around shortly. So just bear with me guys, it won't be long. Right, so the flash is meant to be up here. I just seen this right weird building. What is this all about? Wow. It's a relic from World War II. Let's check it from the side. Oh my goodness. Yes. Nice watch turret. Wow. How did this survive? This is fantastic. And the final shot from the front. Nice way of keeping the Tommies out. Well done guys. It's still here. This is where the railway line came. It skimmed the edge of the lake here and it will eventually cross it a little further up there. Let's keep it up. So here we are following the railway. It's coming this way. Follow that tree line. Them 3 trees literally went through the middle of this field before it then crossed the lake. Pretty windy up here, sorry for the sound. That's approximately where we were with the last shot. So basically, like I said, it came through the middle of that field, all the way, came to the river here, and it went across the water around that point there. I'll give you a close-up on that. Unfortunately, we won't be able to follow the track because half of it is underwater. Can you see those little bits sticking up? That is where it was, that's the line. Went across. Zoom in there. A few more bits there for you to show. And it finally reached the other side. Yes, where them gulls are chilling out. So it finally went over there and went on its way to Leigh. Right, let's see how we can get over there, mate. There's that little island from the other side. Apparently there's a bit of a junction there as well, that's why it's split into two. Because it had an option, like you say, to go down to Kenyon Junction or go straight across, which we're going to follow to Leigh. So it came along here, through this woodland, where, like I say, it's split into two different directions. So we're going that way. So our railway skimmed the edge of the lake, came literally through where I am now, across this field. Can you see where that white door building is? And it originally went underneath that noisy road, which many years ago was a railway. So we've now just crossed that noisy road that was a railway, and now we're on the final leg, making our way up to Leigh. Enjoy it while you can, because it's going to get pretty urban pretty soon. Yeah, very useful footpath. Did take one or two bridges out, but obviously replace them, so people are still walking that line. Nice. The main trail has now been lost. We're just slowly making our way through Leigh before we finally come to the guided busway. Let's see what bits we can find. I've been looking around Leigh and I didn't find anything of any significance to cover where the old line was, except for this little turret. This is very close now to Leigh station. This is the final approach, so you can see how high it is compared to all the transit stuff which is on the floor. Notice this building next to that little turret we noticed before. It does look very railway related. And you see where that mesh, that metal stuff is? That is where the trains would have come out if it had gone straight through. So here we are at the start of the guided bus lane, and this is the location of Leigh's railway station. Sidings at the side, etc. Nice and wide, you can tell. But as you looked on that last video, it was heavily elevated, so it wasn't at this level. Right, let's go make our way back to Tyldesley. And I think there are one more colliery to show you. The route of it anyway. Right, let's keep going. Yep, painful to film, but it's important to film it. I'd rather it be railway track, but hey ho. So this is the route to Bedford Colliery. Yeah, the colliery line, it was a big massive loop. So basically it looped all the way round, serving several pits. I think there was, what was it? Bickershaw Nook. There was Gert Pit, Jackson Street. It was St George's Bank Colliery. So they were all hanging around this big massive loop, which will eventually come back out at Tyldesley. So if you look at the land at the back there, that is where all the colliery action was. And I'm sure you recognise this, because this is where we originally split up. So we're back at the beginning, as it were, Tyldesley. Here we are. end of the guided bus lane, end of the guided trip. Hope you enjoyed it, guys.